welcome back to another episode of DIY Projects with Charles. Today I am installing a ceiling fan, actually replacing an existing ceiling fan, but it's very similar to installing one new. So at any rate, I just unboxed this fan, and I'm going to put together, these typically go, basically you assemble the blades first, and then you put together the components for the fan. You hang the motor from the ceiling, and then you attach all of the fan blades after you hook up the electrical. So that's kind of the process of how these typically go. Just going to show some of these components so you got an idea. This is what I took out of the box already. So those are the fan blades. This is a 72 inch, I think a 72 inch fan when it's completed. Comes with these brackets. The brackets are for the fan blades, and so you basically just pick which side, which color. Usually there's two different colors on them. Which color you want to the fan to look like when it's done. I'm going to go with the black in this case. The brackets go on like this. The screws go in on this side. Pretty simple to assemble blades. So I'll put that together, and then I'll come back and show the next part of it. The next thing that I decided that I was going to do a little different here is that the extension that this came with is the short one. So I mean, I think that's 5 inches, and it also came with this one, which is whatever, probably 10 inches extension. So this is just the distance from the ceiling to the fan that the pole is on. They're interchangeable, so I just swapped out the parts from the short one and put it on the long one because I want there to be a little bit more airflow between the ceiling and the fan than what this provided. So that was the next step. Okay, before I go any farther with taking stuff out of the box for the new fan, I have to disassemble this existing fan. So basically what's going to happen here is that you take the light assembly off first. Then after you get the light assembly down, then you take the fan blades down. Then you take the motor down. So that's basically what's about to happen here on this one. Typically there's 3 screws on the side of the housing for the lights that have to be loosened and or removed in order to drop the whole thing down. So I disconnected the 2 wires here. You just pull them apart for the lighting assembly and pulled it down. Now in order to get the screws out on this particular model, you can't get to the screws from in here. So they've got this little window right here, this opening, and that's where you have to put your screwdriver up in there to get to each of the fan blades. So you take the screws out, you rotate it around, you get to the next one until you get them all out. Okay, so this is with all of the fan blades off. All right. Okay, the electrical is going to be different for every fan. Unfortunately, they're wired differently. This particular fan is wired with two different switches. So one wall switch controls the light, one wall switch controls the fan. So the red one in this case was connected to the black wire to the fan, and the black wire coming out of the electrical here went to the blue wire, which is the one for the light. Okay, so the other one over here is a ground wire, and it was connected to the two green wires. So like I said, each one's going to be set up a little bit differently. Two switches on this one controlling two different features. So that's the way this one's wired up. Oh, I forgot to mention the white wire. So white wire here is connected to this white wire. Once you have all of the wires, so you can kind of see the wire coming out of the electrical box there. So it's got a white and a black, a red, and a ground. The ground is the bare one. So that's what gets connected here. Once you've got all of the wires disconnected from the fan, you know, these little flimsy wires are the ones that go to the fan versus the solid wire coming out here. Once you've got all that done, this whole assembly just lifts out here like so, and the whole fan motor will come down minus the mount, which is here. All right, most of these mounts are universal. You know, they're the same size balls that drop in here and hold these. But anyway, I'm going to replace this one because the one that this fan comes with looks a little different. It does seem to have the same size diameter for the ball part, but there's a remote feature that goes with this, and it's got a connector on the side of it, which is kind of cool. That all gets connected with this remote part that goes basically kind of like slides in the new mount. But you can see it's got this wiring harness on it, and this wiring harness is going to plug right directly into the side of the mount that I showed you a minute ago. So that's kind of convenient. All of these wires are labeled, which is nice, and that also applies to the wires on this harness that are going to the fan, which ones are neutral, which ones go to the light, you know, etc. So that's kind of nice that they're all labeled. So anyways, I'm gonna take this mount off and put the other one on, since it works better with this particular fan. All right, I've got that bracket off, and this you couldn't see this part when I took it out, but the screws that go through this through the bracket are pretty long screws, and they've got to go all the way up and properly attach in the ceiling fan box. Now, because there was a ceiling fan here already, this box and this fan, it was already designed to support a fan. So I'm not really concerned with the box ability to support the weight of the fan, but that is an issue, and the length of the screws and those things play a part in that. If you're putting in a fan where there hasn't been one before, then of course that's an issue. You have to make sure that the box and how it's mounted in the ceiling can in fact support the weight of the fan that you are attempting to attach. You can't just take off a light fixture, which basically has very little weight, and put a heavy fan on it and expect that the box is going to be able to handle that weight. So you have to have some basic knowledge of this stuff when you're diving into it with a brand new installation. All right, once you have the mount bracket mounted to the ceiling, the next step is you want to make sure you put on this cover, the part that goes over the electrical when this is fully installed. Because if you get to put this part in now, then you have to take the whole fan down and do it again later. But basically that goes on next, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this extension pole. We're going to put this extension pole down in and connect it. So we'll run these wires down the center of it, and we will get this ready so this whole assembly can go up in one time. So once you run these wires through the center of the extension, then you have to put this pin. There's a pin that slides through, connects on the other side with this little clip here, and then you tighten down these two screws here, and here, and then that tightens everything down on the shaft itself. So it's good to go right now. It's pretty much ready to lift up there and put it in place. So this is what it looks like when it's dropped into place. So basically I just put the whole assembly up here like so, and I twist it a little bit because there's an actual groove on the side that it snaps into, and so that keeps the whole thing from spinning. So you have to make sure it locks into that part so it doesn't spin once you've got it all installed. Now I'm going to start hooking up the wires, and then we'll recap. All of the wires are hooked back up. It's pretty straightforward. You know, they're color coded with the remote. This remote assembly, you just have to make sure the antenna, this part right here is the antenna. Make sure the antenna is not hung up by anything, because that will affect how well your remote, the push button remote, goes back together with this thing. So at any rate, that part's pretty much done. So this is what it looks like when it's assembled, and yes, it is normal for the little antenna to stick outside. That way it picks up the signal better. At this point, you're going to want to start attaching each of the individual blades here, like this one, and just keep going around until you've got them all assembled. The light assembly I've already put in, and I always test the electrical before I start putting fan blades and stuff on, because you just want to make sure that you don't have to get back up into the box up there and fix something after the blades are installed. So you want to make sure that the light works, which I verified already, the fan works, all of that's already been done. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the blades on. Okay, so that is the assembled fan. It is a 72-inch fan. One of the things that I think is important about ceiling fans is the CFM rating, the cubic feet per minute. That's important in my opinion, as you can have a really big fan like this and it spins slowly and not do much as far as cooling is concerned. So cubic feet per minute is important. This fan is 9,500 cubic feet per minute. So, you know, the closer you can get to 10,000, the better your movement of air is going to be. So that completes this episode of DIY Projects with Charles with the installation of the ceiling fan. Hope you liked it. If so, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.